what does it mean to connect to God? What does it mean? I wondered that question for so long in my life of what it meant to really connect to God. I always wanted to feel God. I wanted to know who God was. And I kept asking myself the same question over and over. How can I get closer to God? How can I connect to God? And it actually led me to that question of how can I connect to God? See, I've been working on my car lately, and I was just underneath my car, and I realized that my fuel filter was bad. It was clogged. It was prohibiting fuel from getting to the motor. And I had to get under there and I fixed it all up. I threw the new one in. And while I'm doing that, I realized that the fuel wasn't getting to the motor, right? That was pretty obvious, but I'm realizing that this thing is clogged. This fuel filter is clogged. This thing that is supposed to filter out the good and the bad, right? The good fuel and stuff in the fuel, right? It's supposed to filter it out. But it was clogged. It was prohibiting fuel from getting to the motor. For so long in my life, I was prohibiting God. I kept telling myself, I want to start this car. I want to start the car. I want fuel to get to the motor. I want this thing to run. I want my life. I want to feel God, like I said. I want to feel God. I want to be in the presence of God. I want to have what God can give me. But I was keeping things in my life prohibiting me from growing closer to God, from truly connecting to God. Just how the old fuel filter prohibited clean fuel from getting to the motor. It's the same way. It's the same way with a lot of us in our walks with God, is we prohibit ourselves, we hinder ourselves from growing closer to God. A lot of us, including me, I every single day, I want to get closer to God. And I have to look at my life and realize there are things that I'm holding back. There are some things that we are holding back in our lives and in our walks with God. I told myself and asked myself this all the time: how can I get closer to God? I said, I want God. I want God in my life. I want to feel His presence. But the only way for me to get closer to Him was to switch the filter.